Hi, Sarvesh.
Hi, sir. How are you?
Great, great, great. Get started in some time.
Sure.
How have the last few days been for you?
It's been really great celebrating the whole of last week. Just letting it soak in this course.
Sorry?
Yeah, letting this course sink in. That has been the last week. Yeah, unbelievable. So, yeah.
Must have been really, really thrilling to really, so many people suddenly wishing and so many people.
Yeah, exactly.
Right, right. We'll start in a couple of, obviously 5, 6 minutes, so some people will be joining. But I'm
Of course.
really glad that this is the situation. Any other special mention anybody said? Some friend said something, or like there are some questions also that you already a CFA charter.
Yeah.
So what have been the reactions?
So, yeah, the reactions has been really great. So, especially, given the 99th percentile,
Mm.
because a score of 760, a score of 750 or 740, that is not a big differentiator for someone who is not, preparing for GMAT or into MBA. But just the tag of the 99th percentile, that really makes a very big difference to say that, yeah, you are in the
You
top
can
1%.
how it feels probably. Yes, yes, really, really
Yeah,
super. And your family's reaction, because as you said that there have been tough times in the past.
right, right.
So,
My mom was like really happy after seeing that because so she has been very emotional over the last 3, 4 years, worried about how the future will look like. But as things progress toward a more stable, a better future, she becomes very happy and filled with joy
you've
that
done so
yeah.
probably for yourself. Come on, that must have been some period of turmoil. But
Correct, correct, correct. But
then you
mothers do worry a lot. So
no
it
doubt,
is not easy to convince her that yeah, it is all going to be fine. But yeah, this GMAT was a very big stepping stone for her to see that yeah, MBA from a top school is now possible and we are towards the goal.
right? Absolutely,
Yeah,
right, right. Just wait for a few minutes, then and I'll just get
sure,
started.
sure.
All right, I guess we can get started. So, hi everyone. We have Sarvesh with us. I'm sure everyone knows why we are here. And recently, as he scored a 760, and one of the better things that he's graciously accepted to educate you or give you his side of the story. I'm very very happy. And usually doesn't happen. We invite people to our classes, but he very clearly accepted that this really should be a guidance call. So please understand that whatever he says, it's first-hand information. Just to give you a perspective, we run two courses, live and self-paced. Sarvesh was part of the self-paced learning course. And this course I started in 2012. And as today's LinkedIn post also, I said the very first person to subscribe to that course also got a 760 and went to Stanford. And today we are talking to Sarvesh, and it's really been wonderful. I spoke to him over a call, and his journey also, I mean, in entire journey, what all he's done. So, Sarvesh, why don't you just take us through your general life journey first, and then what the interest in the MBA was, and how the GMAT came about? Just give me an idea, please.
Sure, sir. So my life journey, so to speak, actually, I started off very much interested in science. I wanted to be a doctor. My sister is a doctor.
Mhm.
So I had started off in science in class 11 and 12 also. I had taken up science and I was just going through that phase, aiming to be a doctor. And then I realized that maybe that life is not for me. The fantasization of being a doctor was there, but the reality of being a doctor was not for me. And then I realized that I don't want to go into medical and I was really interested in business. So
Mm.
I come from a family business background, and I realized that I'm very interested in the business aspect and even finance, so stock markets, bond markets, and so on. And that is how I decided to shift into commerce. So after 12, I dropped off with science and took commerce. And like every other commerce, every other person pursuing commerce, I decided to do CA because everyone suggested that, going from science to commerce, it is very good if you do CA. It will help in your business as well, and it will give you a big, broad perspective of how a business operates and what are the taxations and laws and so on. So I started off with CA. I had given my CA foundation and I got a rank in that as well. But again, I was realizing that I'm not so fond of the taxation aspect, the law aspect, and the audit aspect. I was really interested in finance.
Mm.
And that is when my father also passed away. And I realized that, I was not able to give in the time to CA coaching because I had to look after the family business. That was a
Right,
full-time thing. Even on weekends, it was compulsory for me to go to office, handle everything. It was a period of turmoil in the family. And
right.
I decided to drop CA and all other education for the time being. I was just pursuing my BCom along with my family business. And even the family business, it was not turning out great. So we were into a very unorganized field of imports where the people were not ready to deal with the child and a woman, my mother. So we decided that we need to, slowly wind up this business. And just for sustenance and to fund my education, I started another venture called Gourmet Fine Foods, wherein I was very passionate about good food, and so I just channeled that into some venture, and I was working with that to just fund my college, fund my further education. And once COVID hit, we were 100% sure that we need to wrap up the import business, and we just put a stop to that. And I focused my energy towards studying. So I went for FRM and I went for CFA. Even in FRM, I realized that my passion was not into risk management, but in general finance per se. So I just focused all my energy to CFA, and one by one, I just started clearing the levels. And as soon as my college got
Must have
over,
been a
I went into
scholar
PW.
student, right? You must have been a great student in that case because clearing these exams the way you tell that I cleared this, I cleared this, I cleared this. I mean, FRM is a tough, tough thing to really do. The chartered accountancy itself and then CFA, we all know. So, was it like very naturally coming to you, this
So
attitude towards
yeah,
studying?
so what happened was actually I was very quick to pick up the subjects in which I'm interested in. So, for example, when I was interested in finance, I actually found like I was fond of studying that portion. So I actually enjoyed studying instead of it feeling like job to do or some tasks. I just enjoyed studying and reading on that, and that is how it helped clear. So, like for CA, there were some portions which I really did not like. And those portions I was not very good at, but the portions I enjoyed studying, that I could really pick up very fast.
Alright. So that has been there that you got to get interested in it, and then it is not really a task.
Right. Correct. That is what.
The journey, how you got into corporate, and then how did this entire thing come into your mind about doing an MBA or something? Just please.
Correct. So after my college got over, from my placement cell, I got placed into PwC into management consulting. And once I started working under consulting, I really loved the consulting aspect. So how we are able to solve business problems, how we are able to make financial projections for projects, and basically just help these companies move forward and make better decisions. So that was really interesting to me, and that is how I decided that I want to go for an MBA down the line because doing an MBA, I realized that I would be able to do this at a much larger scale, and this actually impacts a lot of people in a positive way. So while we might not think about it in the day-to-day role, when we help some company improve some profitability as well, that helps so many people because there are people who are employed with the firm, there are contractors with the firm, and all of them are positively impacted by these small changes. So that is something I really
Just tell me,
enjoyed about the work.
I'm also curious in other people. So let's say as a CFA, the way you'll be able to help a company versus as an MBA, not necessarily MBA in finance, but MBA in general. What is the exact
Sure,
difference
sure.
according to you? Yeah.
Yeah, so I feel there is a stark difference, and that has been actually told to me by a lot of my managers as well. So how I had this habit of approaching the problem was just by numbers, just looking at the financial aspect and seeing what is the impact on the profits, and not realizing that there are many different components which go into the running of the business, which is not just number. It
Mhm.
is people, it is the culture, it is the marketing, it is the brand image, and so on. And I feel that when an MBA comes into picture is that he can look at everything holistically. Whereas a person who is a CFA charter holder might not be able to, see the whole picture, just focus on that finance picture.
Mhm. All right.
Yeah.
So 1 second. One participant is saying she can't hear anything. Soumya, if you're there, this is very clearly audible to everyone else. So I think there must be something from your side. 1 second. Let me just answer. All right. Other people also, in case there is a message and you can answer, please help. So, see, another thing is a lot of people in India, because let's say even after going to an IIT or IIM, people do an MBA abroad, or even in this case, CA, and so many people do not understand the value what an MBA actually brings to the table. And you very rightly pointed out. Another thing is, I feel there is a growth angle as well. So is it also there that beyond a point you will get to a particular level of expertise and not grow probably to become a very
Right.
senior person in an organization? So what have you understood probably from this? Just give me an idea.
Correct, correct. So what happens is that if you are specializing in a particular field and you are extremely great at those technical skills, and even if you're the master of that particular field, it is very difficult to grow beyond a certain point because you can do that particular task with the highest efficiency, but you might not be able to manage other people and replicate it tenfold, hundredfold, which is required of a CXO. So to reach that level of expertise, even if you want to be a CFO, of course, you need to know your finance, but you also need to be able to, look at the holistic picture and all those things which an MBA teaches you rather than a specialization course like CFA. So that is where the MBA helps you.
So everyone listening in, I just wanted to elaborate on this aspect that so many people say that why can we not just be functional experts and why do we really need to? So it is really about two things. One is the holistic side, as you said. The other is growth for yourself and for the kind of impact you can make. Because if you have more aspects of business covered as an individual, obviously that is what. So really nice this. So when did the thought exactly cross your mind and what did you do post that? Like, just give me an idea.
Sure. So this thought actually came once I was given the first lead of a project. So at a very beginning of my career, when most of the other people would not have been given a lead and a project end-to-end execution, I was given that with a team of my own, so I could just run everything on my own. And then I realized that although I am very good in my aspect of financial modeling, I was
Hmm.
not able to manage the team very well. And that is when I realized that this management level experience needs to be taken, and these are some skills which need to be acquired. And so I planned to, go for an MBA down the line. And although my years of experience are a little lower compared to the average candidate, so that is why I'm planning to apply for next year.
Right.
And that is when I realized that, yeah, this is an important function. And what I did after that was actually first read more about the MBA
Hmm.
and figured out and talked to other people, whether they felt that MBA was effective. And in that, I found the stark contrast. So people who have graduated from the top B schools, they
Mm.
have really said that MBA was a game changer for them. It has, built their whole career and life. But people who have done an MBA from a B-tier school or a C-tier school, they were not at all happy. They felt that the cost of the MBA was prohibitively high and the return on investment, so to speak, was not there at all. So there I realized that if I want to go for an MBA, I have to go to the top B schools. Otherwise, it really does not make sense.
All right, just to reiterate for everyone in the audience. So, what he said that when he talked to a lot of people in the industry, the ones who had gone to really, really good schools, maybe in India or abroad, they felt that the value of the MBA was really great, and not just in terms of financial growth, but in general. But the ones who did not go to the topmost schools did not really feel that this was so much value, and they rather thought of it as a cost more than anything else, or probably that it didn't really give the kind of return on investment. So one thing is very clear that we've always been promoting at top 1% as well. Really, really, really target something superb and in the top 5, top 10 schools in the world. And that is what the kind of return that you want will come only when you go to a very, very good school. Otherwise, obviously, there's always that dissatisfaction down the line in the career that, okay, I'm still not an absolute A holder. Like I'm not talking about in general, the A part, like the real cream. So yeah, very nicely put, Sarvesh. So carry on, please, as to when you were convinced that the MBA was really the right path, and then tech,
Right,
tell us about the GMAT. Probably you started studying on your own initially, and so on. So we'll come.
correct. Sure. So this was in January of this year, just a year back, that I decided that I want to pursue an MBA and I want to align myself towards those. But my CFA level 3 was still pending, so I decided to hold off on my MBA preparation till after level 3. So
Mm,
in May of this year, I had given my level 3, and I thought, like, I talked to a lot of people and they suggested that you don't need coaching for a GMAT, and you can get a good score, you can get a 700 plus just by studying yourself. So I started studying myself, and what was happening with me was I was not able to give the consistent effort. That discipline was not being maintained, and just there is something that watching a video versus reading a book. Of course, a video is generally more entertaining and it is more engaging, and you tend to watch it even if you are bored, you are tired. You tend to watch a video, but if you have to read it from a book, it is more difficult. So that is when I decided that I will be taking my coaching. And in July, I took coaching after I realized that 2 months I just wasted. I had not studied a single word. I had purchased all the prep material, but I had not done anything useful. So then I had taken the coaching. But even after taking the coaching, what was happening was I had a lot of work pressure. So although I had started coaching in July, I had just done a couple of classes, but I was not able to give the consistent focus and effort. I started properly studying in around September. So September, October, and November, these were the 3 months, and even in October, there was a lot of work pressure. So half the month I was not able to give in. So around 3 to 3.5 months, I guess, would have been the time
mm.
I actually focused on GMAT.
Right. So everyone, once again, I think if people keep asking me this question, the how much time does it take? I've always said 3 months of consistent effort. The major key word here being consistency, and genuinely, I mean, he has also said this over a call, Sarvesh, when I had a call with you, that consistency was really, really important, and that you try to maintain as
Right.
much as possible. But being a working professional, you were not really able to do so, and that is why probably you took a bit longer. But just
Correct.
talk about how much difference does it make to be very consistent overall.
Sure. So the point happens that if you are just giving it 2 to 3 hours a day, what happens is that once you go through a concept, and even if you're studying just 2 to 3 hours a day, that builds up over time. And so once you revisit that concept, it gets strengthened and strengthened. But even if you study 10 to 12 hours a day in one sitting and then don't touch anything for a week, it really does not, the callback isn't there, the strengthening of the concept isn't there. So once you've gone through the concept, you tend to just forget it very soon, and
Mhm.
it does not internalize. But if you're consistent, even with the less amount of time, it internalizes, which is actually required in a test like GMAT.
Okay, so take us through your entire prep, how you exactly started prior to joining here, and then what didn't work for you, maybe, and then when you started here, what kind of structure did you follow? Just give me an
Of
idea.
course, of course. So before I started, I was actually just I had bought the Manhattan Prep and OG guide, and I was just just reading through the pages and doing the practice questions. So in quant, actually the first thing I had done was in May I had given the official practice exam, and there I realized that my quant actually I had thought would be very good, but my quant percentile was lower than my verbal percentile. So I realized that I need to, prepare more of quant and also improve my verbal, of course. But yeah, quant was a weak point, which I never realized before. So once I started doing the OG quant, I realized that there was nothing which I did not know. It was
Mm.
not adding any value to me. It was just
Right.
reading a sheet and practicing the questions, which I was able to do in 30 seconds, 40 seconds.
Mhm.
But it was not helping me grow at all.
Mm.
So yeah, that was there. And Manhattan, actually, I started to go through the verbal section, and I was not feeling the interest. It felt very boring to me.
Right.
So I was not able to get a consistent rhythm
Yeah,
going. I just,
books
yeah,
are written, frankly, they don't generate any interest in general.
exactly. Yeah.
It's
So
not
it
the
was like,
fault of that every book will be like that, but those books particularly haven't been
correct.
special. So, all right. So, when you took up the course,
Yeah.
exactly, I'm sure we give you a plan and everything, but did you tweak it or did you study it accordingly? Did you study your stronger and weaker areas? What is your daily?
Right. So what I did was I studied according to the schedule which is given, the plan, customized plan which is there. But what I tweaked was the level of practice. So just after completing CR, I realized that I really like CR, and I was getting a very good accuracy in CR. So although I did want to, just sit with CR for the whole day because I was enjoying it, I realized that it was no sense because
Right.
I'm already reaching a level where am not improving so much. So for CR, even the 700 to 800 level question, I did not attempt all. I just attempted 5 or 10 of each, and then I left CR there. As for RC, I realized that RC, my primary purpose was very weak. So I had to revisit the primary purpose classes and the marathon I had done. So those were the things which really helped me. That was how I customized and tweaked the plan. But
Mm.
overall, I think the plan was very good for any person who is just trying to first figure out what they want to do. So if you go through the plan, you might actually realize that this area I'm already feeling very strong and I'm not going wrong a lot. So you can skip on some of the practice there.
Right, right, right. And take us through each of the areas, how you studied, let's say math, and
Yeah,
that's, yeah, you've told the end part that you didn't do that kind of practice, but still, how did you
correct.
start reading comprehension? How did you start? Yeah.
Sure. So the method of studying for each of the subjects was just to first get the classes and the doing the pre-work and post-work along with it, which was very important. So doing the pre-work and the class and the post-work actually helped internalize each of those concepts. And so that is what I followed for my first around 2.5 months was just pre-work, class, post-work. Then after that, I started to focus on the areas where I was weak at. So RC and SC were the two areas where I was not at the level I wanted to be. So for SC, I had to revisit the PPT multiple times. So that I was doing, and I was actually what I was doing was when I was solving the practice exam, I was doing that as well. That after the exam was done, because exam I wanted to take in the proper environment, but after the exam was done, without looking at the answer, I first tried to jot down why I felt the wrong answers were wrong, and that is what, as you had taught during the classes to do, that was a very big help, because earlier in SC all the questions were just by intuition, and even
Mm.
though I thought that I am putting in some logic and some rules to that, I was just going off by my ear that yeah, this sounds wrong, so it must be wrong. But that does not actually turn out to be true. So writing why a particular option is wrong was very important in SC.
Mhm. All
And as
right.
for quants, what was happening was that I had just done the classes. The pre-work and post-work was more than sufficient. That quant was actually very easy to improve. Even though my quant percentile was lower, quant just after going through the classes and doing the practice, the improvement was very immediate.
Okay, great. So just think, because some people are asking me, so we will just tell that in case somebody is interested in doing a demo with me, please, we have shared, I'll be probably sharing something. You can actually do this, fill the form here in case, because some people are asking, how do I get in touch with you and so on. So let me just paste it here. This is 1 second, just 1 second, Sarvesh. Natasha, could you just paste it for everyone in the window, because I have said this. So in case they want, they can actually click that link. All right. So this is great to hear that quant improved very quickly, because as you said, it wasn't a weak area, but maybe the GMAT style of asking questions or something.
Correct.
That is something that you may not have been familiar with. So everyone listening in, let
Correct.
me just recap some things. For sentence correction, as he said that he had this tendency to use intuition, but he wrote why each of the answers was right or wrong, and that helped. In reading comprehension, he was struggling mostly with primary purpose questions. So he went through a lot of our videos in which we do a lot of primary purpose questions. In math, though initially his score was not great when he wrote the first mock, but after that, going through the process and going through this, it was very easy for him. So, and yeah, we will definitely talk about all these questions you're saying, which mocks and books. We will definitely take up your questions, just leave them there. And for critical reasoning, as he said, that he developed some kind of flair and knack, so he didn't really have to do much. So apart from that, once you're done with the classes, talk about your practice routine. Did you practice a lot, or did you focus more on the fundamentals? And did you practice for speed also?
Sure. So, for speed, yeah, as you were saying that during the classes, all the pre-work and post-work, it was untimed, where I was not timing myself. And so after the classes were done, all the practice I had done was properly timed practice. So even the SC 100 questions, I had gone through the questions I felt were important again, where I had made an error before or I was not clear with the concept. So I had gone through them again. Plus, I had done the quant 700 to 800, some portions, the weak areas which I was having, I had done them in a timed manner. And for CR, as I said, I just done five questions of each of the CR types again. And those really helped me realize that, yeah, I'm sticking to the time, and the timing was not being an issue if we do it by the method which is taught. And after that, I had given my mocks. So I had given all six of the
You
practice
told that your
exams
average score
available.
was exactly 760, like
Exactly 760. Yeah, it was around 762, and my actual score came out to be 760. So I think the official mocks are very important to assess where you stand before you give your exam. So what I had done was that my initial baseline, which I had done diagnostic test, I had repeated that exam again,
Mhm.
because I had not gone through the correction of that exam initially when I
Right.
had given it in May. So all six of those practice exams I had given, and that was all I had done for practice.
Great, great. So, all of you, as some people are once again asking, they can just message that you would like to take a demo or take a consultation call with me. Just take care that you mention, so that we can guide you. Because yeah, I've been seeing so many message, and please, this one message my teammate, I think Natasha, has sent. Just take care. Just look at that message. So there are a couple of things that people ask me, and in the chat window also we see, what did you do for assumption questions? Did they trouble you? This will be more specific, so we can take this up at the end. And another
Yeah,
thing, while writing the exam, did you feel any nervous? You told me that there was some glitch. You did not know that your fingerprint had to be done again or something. But apart
yeah.
from the atmosphere related things, did you feel that there was anything really unusual on the exam day, or something that you were doing that?
Not at all, not at all. All the questions which actually came in the exam just felt very familiar, because even in the practice exams which were done, even in your material which we had done, it was all like, it was nothing very much difficult, much more difficult than what we had already done. So it was very
There are also
easy to sail
some
through the exam.
questions repeated, so just tell us about that. Probably you'd seen some of the questions. Yeah,
Sorry? Yeah, some questions were actually repeated in the verbal section, which I had seen before.
that's really nice to know. And that's really, really nice to know. So, Sarvesh, I'll open it to you, because I have really asked you. If you would like, let's say somebody starting out today, what advice would you have for those people? Three or four pieces, particularly, what
Hmm.
they must do and what they must not do, and
Sure.
just take us through whatever you feel. I mean, we can take a little
Of
pause
course,
on
of course.
formulating your answer, but just
Sure, sure, sure. So the very first thing which just pops into my mind without giving it any further thought is to have a growth mindset, as you repeatedly mentioned in your Know the World videos as well, because that was a big game changer for me. So as I said, that I had started my coaching in July, but I was not able to get a consistent schedule done by end of August or September. So what really helped me then was the KTW videos. So the Know the World sessions, it really helped me open my mind towards the growth mindset, towards thinking like the top 1%, as you repeatedly mentioned there. And that is how the importance of consistency was actually emphasized so much in those videos, that I realized that I need to be consistent. And
like.
the fact that, there will always be problems, but you need to have a good mindset to face them. That unless you deal in a volatile environment, you cannot grow, you cannot be the top 1% if everything is stable.
So just because a lot of them will not be knowing about Know the World, I can obviously talk about it. But what would you say is this program, and how does it help you? Please just elaborate for
Sure,
everyone.
sure. So, Know the World is basically a series of, I think, eight classes, which in which Sir just talks about. So, the basic history of a lot of things, says the history of how humans came to be, how we are, our brain, and it leads to, the current political events as well, which is going on, and how those events shape the world. And it leads to very unusual connections, which you would never have thought of. That how something which is happening in the news today is related to something which happened 50 years back, and something which is given very little thought today. So those are the things which actually happen in Know the World. And apart from the knowledge aspect of the facts and what is the history, what is very important in Know the World is the mindset. So it inculcates this mindset to, just keep on learning, keep on growing. Even if it is slow, but a slow and consistent growth, it will lead you to a very good place. So that is the best part about Know the World.
Great, great. And when this happened, as you were saying, so you were saying that, yeah, first have the growth mindset. That was your first hack. What are the other things you were telling? So I
Right,
asked you
right.
three things that
So
you'd like to suggest and not suggest as well. So just, yeah.
correct, correct. The first thing was that mindset. The second thing was the importance of consistency. So even if you are not able to, there are some days where you might not be able to give in the 1 to 3 hours as well. But it is fine if that is happening like once in a month or once in 2 weeks. But if you are taking a long break, then that flow breaks and it is very difficult to get back to the game. So it is better to have a consistent studying, even if some days you're not able to reach it to 1 to 3 hours, even if it is like half an hour, 20 minutes, just have that consistency there. That will help you build up the concept slowly over time. So that was the second
One is
thing.
growth mindset, the other is consistency. What would you say is one more thing probably that works out?
Right. So the third thing, which I feel is very important, is a practice exam. So actually giving a practice exam in an exam setting is very important because in an aptitude test like GMAT, what happens is that after a proper preparation, you know all the concepts and you know how to approach a problem after all the preparation is over. But if you are not in a calm, relaxed mind during your exam, it is very difficult to go through the exam feeling like, it is fine, and especially because it is adaptive. So if you have prepared well, the questions really become hard after a couple of after like 10, 15 questions, it is very difficult. So just having a calm mind, relaxed mind to take on those questions, that is very important, which the mocks really helped me achieve.
All right. And a couple of things, if you would like to say they shouldn't do, probably they could be converse of the same things, but still, I mean, in case
Right.
there's something that you would like to share, then I'll open it to them and they can ask their questions one by one. Yes.
Sure, sure, sure. So one thing which you never should do, what I feel, is that to improve RC, you should not just start reading books and newspapers, because, like, of course, reading newspaper and book is very good. But if you have an exam deadline, and I have seen a lot of people who want to improve their RC and reading speed and so on, so they just start reading books. And I feel that is not the right way to prepare, because it might help you. The reading the books might help you, of course, but preparation for RC is a different thing, and that is not something which will help you a lot.
Right. Any other thing that they shouldn't do? I mean, in case you feel there is something, then you can open it for them in that case.
Right, right. I think that the other two things is similar to the things that you should do, the converse of that. So nothing value added there. Yeah.
All of you, in case you have some questions, first raise your hands, and in that order, you can ask questions, because that will be even more interactive and you will be able to address your actual concerns. So we go with Tamur. Tamur, if you can hear us, please, you can ask your question.
हेलो संदीप
Yes.
है
Hi.
सर मेरा तो क्वेश्चन है कि मेरा बैकग्राउंड भी चार्टर्ड अकाउंटेंसी है
I
तो
can't
सर
hear
से
you properly. Please, Tamur, you're not very well audible. Please. Hello.
हेलो
हाँ, Tamur.
कैन यू हेयर
हाँ, बताइए, please.
सर से मेरा क्वेश्चन ये है कि सीए के एग्जाम में और जीमेट में अनयूजुअल क्या है मतलब कंपेयर टू
आप
जीमेट
सवाल
एंड
समझ में नहीं आया था, आप क्या पूछना चाह रहे हैं, क्लियर नहीं है। तो थोड़ा वेट कीजिए, वी कैन डेफिनेटली आंसर। क्वेश्चन में थोड़ा क्लैरिटी नहीं है बिकॉज ऑफ द वॉइस आल्सो, एंड व्हाट यू आर आस्किंग इज नॉट क्लियर। कैन वी गो विद प्रशांत? तैमूर विल कम बैक टू यू, जस्ट स्टे देयर। या
Yes. Hi, Sandeep sir. Hi, Sarvesh. So, Sarvesh, basically, I wanted to ask you that how did your daily practice look like, and before giving the test, what period were you actually practicing, and your concepts were done by then? So, what should be that window that should be available for only practice, and how did the daily practice look like?
Sure. So the daily practice, how it looked like was initially what I was doing is focusing on one particular subject. And so, for example, if I started RC, I was just practicing RC for that one whole day. If I'm giving 3 hours that day, it was completely focused on that one subject. That is how I had done initially, but more closer towards the exam when there were around 7 to 10 days left, it was more of a holistic thing where I was doing mixed bag questions of all the different subjects. So I had like the quant section, I was doing only quant, all the different types of questions. Under verbal, I was doing all the different type of verbal questions. And as for the period or window of time that you need, I think that you should take around 15 days at least wherein you are practicing. And of course, if it is more, it is better. But 15 days should be kept so that you can also practice, give the practice exams.
Right.
Okay. And Sarvesh, one more thing. So, was it a self-paced course for you, or was it a live session? Means, what
It
do
was a
you think?
self-paced course.
Acha.
So for me, it was a self-paced course because I had my work commitments, and so giving a particular time slot was very difficult for me because I never knew when I would be busy, when I would be free. So the self-paced was what it worked for me. But for you, you will
Correct,
have to
correct,
decide how you are, how your time
correct.
schedule is and what motivates you to sit down and study. Because a lot of people just take the self-paced course, but they don't actually book a
Go
time
with the
slot where
rhythm.
they is
Mm.
giving the studying for the class. Yeah.
Just to add there, please ask yourself a very honest question in case you want to be part of any, not just this one, self-paced or live learning. Do you work completely with self-discipline very well, or you feel somebody is required, to discipline you, to police you, or to tell you every week that this is the target? There is no difference in the content. You can really learn exactly the same from as that. Okay, can you go ahead with Mehit, please?
Yeah, thanks.
Other
Yeah.
people, yourself muted.
Hello.
Only one person. Others, please keep muted. Yeah, Mehit.
Yeah. I'm audible?
Yes, Mehit, please
Yeah.
go ahead.
Yeah. Hi, Sarvesh. First of all, congratulations on your 760 on GMAT. So,
Thank
my question
you.
was, can you just tell me more about like the time management between your work and your preparation? So, like, I'm also a working person right now, and as you mentioned, that the pressure in the work is quite often like when the projects will come or when the projects will not come. Depending on that, the pressure is. So, can you just like guide me through that how you manage between that and time management between your work pressure and like the preparation which you told?
Okay, so what really worked for me to actually split my time between work and studies was getting up early to study because for me what happened was the work did not usually start before 9:30, 10 a.m. So I knew that if I wake up by 6 or 7, the entire morning window is there with me to study, wherein I will have very few distractions or I will be able to give my concentration during that time. So that really works for me because sometimes the work can go on for very long, and even after work, the mind state might not be, in the fresh mind to take on more studies. So that was what worked for me. Plus, what was there was
It's
my
a
weekends.
very big contributor in your case. You'd say that because you're undistracted and then so on. Right.
Right, right, right. And for me, even the weekends, Sundays were generally never touched. Even if there is work, they used to come on Saturday. Sunday was usually free from any disturbance. So I actually did a lot of classes on Sunday, and I tried to consistently do the practice during the weekdays.
Great, great, great. All
Okay, thanks a lot. And one more thing, like, just can you mention one of your like bad experience? Like, what should we not do? Like, if I'm thinking of starting my preparation, then what is one thing that I should not like repeat, which you did in your starting days or like in your starting of preparation?
Right. So I think one thing is just, not doing it consistently, as I have mentioned quite a few times now, that consistency is key here. So it is not like the content is extremely difficult or it is not crackable, but if you don't give in the consistent hard work, it is very difficult to reach a very good score. So what you should not do is have a big break between studying. So even if there is 1 or 2 tough days, that is fine, but don't let those tough days extend beyond the point. Even if you are just putting in 20 days or 30 days, 30 minutes or 20 minutes a day, just put in that amount of time so that you are able to, not break the flow, do it consistently.
That's really, really
Okay,
nice. I mean, we've been saying this forever, and again, this comes up every 5 minutes. So very good. All right, Mehit,
thanks
please.
a lot.
Himanshu, if you have a question, please go ahead.
Yes. Hello, Sarvesh. Congratulations, first of all. And I just have a question regarding your GMAT preparation. And based on your experience, as I'm also CFA candidate, CFA level 2 candidate. So I'm having my exam due in this May. but along with CFA level 2, I'm planning to prepare for GMAT. So will it work for me, or what will be your suggestion? Should I attempt my GMAT after CFL2, or with CFL2 I can prepare well?
So, like that really depends on your other commitments as well. So, if you are a working professional, it might be very difficult because CFA level 2 is one of the hardest levels in CFA. So, that also requires a lot of time and effort. And as I said, in GMAT, although the content is not extremely difficult, the thing is you need to have a consistent schedule wherein you're practicing and giving that time there. So, if you have some other commitments like work or family, it might be a little difficult. And if you think you can do it, then of course it is fine, but it might be a little difficult. It can be better if you pace it out if your applications are not due soon. So you can just, give your level to this May and then prepare for GMAT with your full mind, with full effort. But if you don't have any other commitments, yeah.
No, no, go ahead, go ahead. Yeah.
Yeah, so if you don't have any other commitments, then yeah, you can pull it off because if you give like 4 to 5 hours a day to CFA and then 2 or 3 hours a day to GMAT, it is more than enough and you can easily do that then.
Right. So, Himanshu, one more thing to add here. What we can do, probably a lot of people in your state do approach us. So, just what we suggest is there are two parts to it. One is the concept phase, the other is the practice phase. In the initial part, before May, you can wrap up the entire concept phase and keep the practice phase towards later. So, because you are doing CFA, I'm guessing you are used to studying and we have a bit of aptitude already. So, it's not that things will be forgotten completely. So that is another approach you can take, because otherwise what happens is you will not be able to apply in round one very comfortably if you ever want to. Either you have
Yeah,
like
yeah.
3 years. So my suggestion would be that break your studies in two parts, finish the concept phase, and then you can do the practice phase after your CFA level 2 exam. So that could be another consideration. It's not a compulsion, but one consideration can be.
Yes, yes, Sandeep, that's what I'm concerned about, because I am planning to apply for round one, and I know that round one will be starting in October or November,
No, no, it's
right?
going to start in August, September, actually. So much
Yeah,
earlier than what you're thinking. So my suggestion is in that case very clear. If you really seek our help, or even if you don't, either way, it's finish the concept phase first very well, and then you can practice for a month or so. And by the end of July or by mid-July, you can write your exam. You'll have enough time to prepare for your round one of applications.
Right, right.
All right,
yeah.
Himanshu.
Thank you.
We have one Amit Sharma hand raised. So please, if you have something to ask, Amit, can you go ahead?
Sure, sir. Thank you so much. And congrats for the achievement. I have a very small question. I know like you must be practicing personally on a personal level and self-practicing. So how the course, did you like any of the course content which actually help you to cross that threshold level? Maybe initially you must be targeting like 720, 730 score if you are self-practicing, to reach up to that level of 760 or 780. If you like any specific part of the course, I would want you to share that. And maybe if you can ask me, maybe you can answer the second question, which is the importance of extracurricular activities for the foreign universities, like if they give any importance. So that is not a mandatory question, but first question I would want you to answer.
So the question, let me repeat, because what I understood is that was there some portion of the course that made you believe from 720 to 780 or 760 is possible? So let him answer. I'll probably add something to it. It's an interesting
Right,
question.
right.
But this will, yeah, please.
Correct. So I feel that, as you had said, that initially I might have been aiming for a 720, but then there was a jump in my expectations. So I think that was never there because from day one, Sandeep had made it very clear that if we are joining him, we should not aim for anything below 750. And I had started on this journey with that ambition and that mindset itself that anyhow I need to get a 750 plus score. So I think that mindset needs to be there in the very first place. Not a particular course content will not help you boost your score, but if you don't have that mindset of getting a target of that score, that is the very first thing. And secondly, any particular part of the course content, I would not say that there is any particular part which really helped me boost my score. But what helped me was, like for example, as I had mentioned before, that CR, I did not require so much attention and guidance just after the classes. I felt it is good to go. But for other areas where I felt there was more help required, that help was always there. So there is so much resources that you never need to look anywhere else. So that is something which is there, which helped me reach that target, so to speak.
So answering one more thing here, Amit, there cannot be a particular thing that you do this and you'll get more ambitious or something. It's just the entire makeup of our course, the entire philosophy behind the course, and that the name itself, top 1%, we are very clearly. So everything that we do is geared towards that. So if you're studying something, then you are studying for a very high score only. That is the approach. So I just wanted to clear there. So I do not see any other hands raised, but in the chat window, we had some questions. If you feel you would like to still ask those questions, anybody, you can ask directly, because taking a question from chat window will be a little difficult. You can ask on audio, it will be much easier for us. Please, anybody, raise hand first. Let's go in that order in case there is anybody, please. All right, probably there is no other question. So one last piece of advice or piece of thing. All of us really should believe in an exceptional level of excellence, because you just do not know. As of now, today, if you settle for something, let's say, I'm not saying X is a bad school or Y is a great school or something, but imagine the jump. Let's say somebody joins, let's say an ISB today versus somebody who joins a Wharton. We don't see the difference right now. You say, I'll go one level above, I'll get 40 lakhs, I'll get this lakh. Well, it's not about the first salary you get out of Wharton, that 200,000. Imagine the gap in the next 10 to 20 years. It's unimaginable. I mean, it's unimaginable. And if you genuinely believe in that level of growth and that level of impact through a corporate or as an entrepreneur later, then do consider a great school. Do definitely work towards it, and the difference is very small. And profile wise, how much difference will it make anyway? You already must be having something. That is why you're thinking also for the GMAT and other things. So it's just a mindset, and maybe 40 extra marks, 40 extra points on the GMAT, that can genuinely turn the game around. And then there are experts who can turn around your story and applications. You have to sound very authentic, you have to be authentic, but there's a way of presenting. So Anant, why can't you just ask on audio, please? Okay. He's asking, Anant, how many days of leave did you take towards the end? So if you can answer, Sarvesh.
So I had taken 5 days of leave. So the leave was basically all the days when I had to give my practice exam. Those days I had taken a leave because I wanted to give the exam at the same time as my actual exam time. So I had taken leaves on those days. Also, in one of those days, like because the work pressure was so high, it is not that those leaves were completely unencumbered. I just had a time slot from 9 to 2. There was no work because I was completely on leave. But around the evening time, if there were any queries they had in the work, they reached out to me, and I had to work around an hour or two even in those days.
Okay. So it wasn't really too much in that case. So see what works. And I've been training for so long. I mean, most of you are not even as old as my training age in this industry. So the reason for that is why I say this. We have already figured it out. I mean, it's not something that you have to reinvent. In fact, Sarvesh would not have done more than 70% of our material if you look at all the mocks and everything. So much content is given. So content is enough, basics right from the beginning, everything. It is just a matter of being consistent, and then if you don't get something, then work towards it. If your sentence correction was a challenge, so it's not that, oh, just keep solving questions. You fix the way it is asked. So really take that into perspective, that there is something bigger that you want to do in life, not just get to the next level of salary and 30% hike or 50% or 100% hike, or just, my manager's level I want to reach. It's not really a game-changing life. So change the game for yourself and for a lot of people around. I mean, look at the number of success stories we have had to every school. We posted a Stanford story today. We posted some Harvard story. Wharton. I mean, it's any school you name it on the planet that is worth its salt. We really have had people go there in droves. So keep that in mind, and I hope you continue the dialogue with Sarvesh, because sometimes you're not able to ask. Sometimes you do not know the context of what he's talking about because he's gone through the training. Some of you haven't got any idea about what he may have talked about, that this you write, whatever. So if you want, you can connect with him on LinkedIn. You must be connected. And Sarvesh, I think, has been gracious enough to answer everybody. And it's been a very, very wonderful journey for you. We are very glad that we were able to contribute to your success, and keep in touch, Sarvesh. It has been wonderful.
Of course, thank you.
Last, I'd like you to really tell them about them, why they must do the Know the World session, not what it contains, but how it changed you one more time, because that is something that I really want everybody to go through, no matter what. This is a free service we give and a free product. So just tell them, and then we'll wrap.
Of course. So, in Know the World, I feel that there are two, you can just break it down into two particular things. First thing is the mindset, which I feel is the most important part. And just going through those sessions really helped me change my mindset towards the growth mindset, thinking like the top 1%. So, whatever you mentioned in the last 5 minutes, just aiming for the top and, making a positive change, just not just to our own lives, but even to the lives of others. And that is something which Know the World really brought back to me, because initially I had that growth mindset when I was in business, but once I started doing the job, that mindset started fading away. I just, as you were saying, just started thinking about the next level and the next level. But once we do the Know the World, it really helped me again reshape my mindset towards the growth mindset. And that is very important, because that's what sets you apart from everyone else, because there might be someone who is very smart and have more knowledge than you, but unless they have that mindset, that certainty that yeah, they will reach the top 1% in whatever they want to do, unless that is there, it will not be a game changer. So that helps you distinguish yourself. And the second aspect would be the knowledge aspect. So Know the World helps you to think holistically about a lot of things, and helps you connect the dots in a lot of different things. And it actually, tells you how to, keep on attaining such knowledge. And that again helps me make myself different from my peers at work as well. So just, none of my peers had the thing that they could just sit down with the director and talk about how a particular news story in China could affect the division profits for the next 3 years. But
Wow.
yeah, but having the thing from Know the World, learning how to connect the dots, knowing the world scenario, political scenario, the human mindset, how our brain is actually wired, how we need to think about, how we tend to think about stuff, that helps us understand how things will be moving going forward. We can actually predict the future, not as in prediction, but we can help see the outline of where things are going. And that is something which very few people can do, and that helps you be in the top 1% of whatever group you are in.
Right. Thank you, Sarvesh. In that case, it has been a wonderful discussion. Keep in touch and all the very best for applications next year.
Thank
Bye.
you, sir.
Bye.
Bye.